Hey guys, have another knife review for you today. Please accept my apologies. I have a very sore throat, just kind of getting over being sick here, and just bear with me on my voice if I sound a little different or kind of scratchy. But anyway, like I said, I'm doing the review here on the Buck Folding Kalinga Pro. A little history behind this knife. In 1969, Al Buck, who was the president and CEO of Buck Knives, created a knife called the Kalinga Pro. It was a beautiful fixed blade. The design was perfect. It was one of his favorite knives in his collection, in his whole line. In 2007, they decided to make a folding version of that knife. And that's what's in the box. That's what I'm doing a review on. So let me take it out of the box. First thing I want to kind of make a side note here is that you'll see, here's a knife in the sheath, and then you get your paperwork. But if you look at the size of the box, it's pretty large. I mean, you could fit the knife in half that box. And a lot of times, I'll question this, and I'll think to myself, well, why are these companies using such a large box? Why can't they give you a smaller package here? And then it kind of dawned on me today, and I kind of felt stupid for not realizing this earlier. But obviously, it's going to be more cost-efficient, cost-effective to just get a lot of these standard size boxes so they can put larger knives or smaller knives in it. And obviously, Buck's going to save a lot of money by doing that. So if you're ever wondering that to yourself, like I was, why are they using such a large box for a smaller knife? Well, that's why. And it's actually a very good idea in saving money, so you have a more versatile box and they don't have to order a whole bunch of different custom-sized boxes. But anyway, let's get that box out of the way and start talking about the knife. So here's the knife in the sheath, and by the way, I love this sheath. Beautiful. I mean, really supple leather. To be honest, I like the color. It's kind of a maroon or burgundy kind of color. I really like it, but I would probably prefer a dark or light brown, like a straight brown. This is, again, a reddish brown, a burgundy, or you might consider that maroon. But it really, overall, it's very, very nice. Extremely nice. And I like this kind of innovative cross snap they have going on here. There is a mounting loop on the back. This is only set up here, though, for a vertical carry, like so. Now, this is stable enough where you can wear it upside down like this. If you prefer that kind of carry method, you can use the same loop for that. However, you cannot mount this how it comes horizontally, and it's kind of a downside. I would have liked to carry this horizontally. Being a bigger guy, all you bigger guys out there, you'll know that when you carry a knife vertical, especially if it's a little larger, it kind of digs into the side of that gut there. It's not the most comfortable carry. Whenever possible, I try to do a horizontal carry. It's just more slimline, goes with the belt and your waist, and just doesn't seem as bulky. But I actually did try this on. I did carry this for 2 days, just to carry around, see what it was like, and it's not too bad in the vertical position. But there's the snap on there. Very nice snap. Buck does an excellent job on all their sheaths, but this one, again, being a little more innovative like that, it's not going to fall out, by the way. It's in there, pretty snug fit. But I really like that. Very cool sheath. It slips out, slips back in, really smooth. Again, very supple, soft leather on here. Almost as if it's been used for years. It's kind of like already pre-broken in. But anyway, here's the knife itself. Again, this is the Folding Kalinga Pro. A little history on this knife. In 1969, Al Buck, the owner of Buck Knives, created the Kalinga Pro. Now, that was a fixed blade, the same style, heavy sweep on that blade. You got kind of the double finger choils up here for your pointer and middle finger. Basically, this same knife in a fixed blade version. And let me actually use my little thing here. I keep forgetting to use these for my reviews. So as I talk, you can kind of get a better look at that knife. But anyway, yeah, in 1969 they had the Kalinga Pro, and it's still in their line today. It's been selling good all these years. Really nice hunting fixed blade. But Al Buck in 2007 decided to do a folding version of this knife, and that's what you're looking at right now. It's the folding version of the Kalinga Pro. Now, there's actually 3 versions of this knife. This is the higher end version, having brass and rosewood construction. However, there's 2 other ones which are cheaper. As far as price, Buck's site lists this at $160. However, again, that's full retail price. You're not going to be expected to pay that. Doing a little homework on this, this averages out about $100 even. I've seen it as cheap as like $95, and I've seen it as expensive as maybe 120, 130. So it averages out about $100. If you search around a little bit, you can get it for 100. But I actually got this one in a trade. If you're curious as to what I traded, I actually traded my Kershaw composite leak. That's the D2 blade. Really liked the leak a lot, but it was kind of a safe queen and wasn't carrying it or using it. And someone had an interest in it. They had this knife. They generously offered to trade because they knew they would use the leak, and they weren't using this because it was a little big and heavy. And later in the video, I will actually weigh this. Buck's website does not have a weight for this, so I'll have to weigh it myself right here on film. But anyway, getting back to the story, Al Buck just loved the knife, and he wanted to do a folding version. So as far as my knowledge from Buck's website, this came out in 2007, and they've been going pretty strong since. But again, there are two other versions. The other versions are cheaper, but you're going to have a downgrade in steel and in overall construction. Well, I shouldn't say that. The construction is the same, but the materials used are a little bit lesser quality. However, the brass and rosewood is very heavy. You may like this knife, but you don't want to deal with the extra weight or the price. So if that's a consideration for you, you might want to go for the lower end models. Now, off the top of my head, I don't really remember the steel. I think the steel downgrade goes to a 420 HC, but Buck does a really good job with their heat treats. So 420 HC really isn't all that bad. As far as handle materials, the other ones I think it's a stainless construction with a rubberized plastic composite for the handle. And they also have another version which is camouflage. It's a camo handle on there. So anyway, if you like this knife but you don't want to shell out the $100 or have the extra weight or want to maintain brass, because that's not very easy, which I'll talk a little bit later in the video about, you can go for the cheaper versions. Again, about 60, 70 bucks for those other ones. Anyway, let me tell you some specs while I'm on this subject. The blade itself is 3 7/8 inches long. This is a S30V stainless steel, and I believe because this is an 07, it's a Bose heat treat. Let me actually just check the blade. Yeah, let me get my loop out here for you. Got that all ready. There's a Paul Bose heat treat on there. You make that out right there. Very nice. S30V obviously being preferred steel. For a hunting knife, if you actually go use this for hunting, it would perform very well. You have a lot of sweep on the blade. It's very, very ideal for that. You actually have it's very, very comfortable. Now this is a bulky knife, but it really, really fits good in the hand. Very smooth feeling. You do a finger troll, you can choke up on here for finer cutting work. Really, really nice knife. But let me get back to specs here, kind of jumping ahead. So yeah, the blade, you got 3 7/8 inches of S30V to work with. The handle is, again, brass, full brass bolsters here, going down into the actual framework itself. You have its pillar construction, so you have two of these brass pillars. The bottom one actually serves as your lanyard point. If you want to attach a lanyard when this knife is closed, the blade comes short of that, so you can add a lanyard right there. You can see in the back, you have plenty of room. The blade's not going to cut that lanyard off. So that would be where you attach it if you do decide to go that route. Now the handle material, besides being brass here, the inserts, which is beautiful looking, is actually resin impregnated rosewood. Rosewood, obviously, very nice wood of choice. There's plenty of exotic woods out there. Rosewood's kind of easy to work with, but it really, really looks nice. Now, when I say resin impregnated, some people might not know what that is, or if you're new to knives, you don't really understand why, they need that. But kind of think of it as, I would say a good comparison would be your deck. If you have a deck on your house, that's pressure treated wood. That's so it doesn't weather over the years. Now, all woods, of course, natural material like that, wood or bone, but more so I would say wood, with heat, extreme heat and cold, it's going to expand and contrast, and you're prone to cracking and being damaged from that, especially if it gets wet. So what they do is they actually impregnate it, or do a layer of resin. So it's almost like, I guess, I'm trying to think of a good comparison. Imagine like a candy coated chocolate, or an M&M. Put it that way, an M&M. An M&M, the chocolate, it's kind of fragile, but having that hard candy shell protects it, right? I don't know why I use an M&M for comparison, but basically you guys get the idea. It's protecting the wood so it doesn't expand, contrast, and crack on you and just look crappy over time, with use and a little bit of weather. But anyway, I just want to explain that real quick because I know not everyone would understand what that means. But anyway, very beautiful overall. The brass and wood in general just looks really classy to me. Really, really nice. The close length on this knife is 5 1/4 inches long, and I think that's it for specs. So you do have an adjustable pivot screw here, excuse me, but from the factory, there's no blade play at all. Straight from Buck, they do it right. I did have to drop a little bit of oil in here though, just a little bit, you know, on either side of the blade there, and to get it where it's just gonna fly out like that. Very, very nice though. Now, I was talking about brass before. Let me show you these other knives here. Again, I have the, this one is the Case Mako, and I have the Buck 112 Ranger. Now, brass is not very easy to maintain. You see here, the previous user did a very good job on keeping it polished. Actually, used some Mother's metal polish, which is used a lot in the auto industry, to keep this nice and cool looking, I should say. There are some scratches and stuff. This was lightly used, but still very, very shiny. Still nice presentation state. Now you'll see in comparison with this knife here, the Buck 112, this is also brass and should look just like that. However, and let me give you another comparison on the other side here with the Case Mako. Brass does tarnish. It tarnishes very easily with use. I mean, if I were to just doing that, you know, putting a fingerprint on there, I mean, your skin, naturally you have a lot of salt and oil in your skin, damaging the blades and especially brass. Now, just doing that, having a fingerprint on there, it'll rust in the shape of my fingerprint if I don't do anything about it. I will wipe this down when I'm done doing this video. However, if you do not, you get this tarnishing on the brass. And I'll be completely honest, I like that. This Case Mako, I mean, it's supposed to look like this. It's supposed to be a very, you know, yellowy, white, kind of gold-looking brass. However, it's kind of a reddish, orangey brown. You know, it's not a big deal to me. I mean, this is a user knife. I use this knife. Will I use this folding Kalinga? Probably not. I like it as a collector piece, so I'll probably polish that back up and throw it in the safe, to be honest with you. But, you know, if you don't take care of it, it's really not a big deal. It tarnishes very nicely. I like that. Nice aged look, and, you know, once you get it nice and even, it actually looks pretty cool. I like that a lot. But anyway, I wanted to point that out. The brass will be hard to maintain if you want to keep it in this original state here. Just something to keep in mind. Now, before I was talking a little bit about weight, it is a heavy knife. Brass is heavy in general. It's large. You know, it's a large knife overall. So let me get my scale out here and weigh it for you. Let's weigh in ounces. Just give me a second. I'll set this up here. And here we go. Ounces. Let me bring it back to 0, which is right there. Okay. Fold it up and place it on the scale. Now, if I can kind of lean in here a little bit, show you this. 7.325 ounces. That's not a lightweight, you know, just over 7 ounces. It's definitely not your tactical folder. And I use that term loosely all the time. Actually, you know what? I wrote it down on a piece of paper right here to show you, because you might say, wait a minute, did you say tactical? No, I said tactical. That's a term I use all the time. I think we're all guilty of buying some of these new tactical style knives just because they're cool. I mean, we're not special operatives. We don't really have a need for these tactical knives, but we like them. We like them because they're cool looking, and they definitely perform too. But anyway, those knives, a lot of them are lightweight. Again, because you have these heavy loads. You know, you know, the guys overseas right now serving for us, and all different aspects in the military. You have a lot of gear on you. So a major consideration in having a knife is having it light. However, with these old school hunting knives, you don't have a huge load on you. You know, it's just, the knife weight itself really isn't an issue. So again, you know, being over 7 ounces, it's not a lightweight. It is a big chunky knife, but you know what? It feels really good in the hand. It really feels good. And some people prefer a little bit of weight like that, especially with a hunting knife. But definitely something to consider. If you don't like these big heavy knives, this one is not for you. This is not a lightweight, and it is not small. But anyway, I love it. The Buck Folding Kalinga, fantastic knife. Really, really like it a lot. I really like the sheath. Very classy. And again, if you're interested in this knife, you know, you could pick one up for $100, brand new. If that's a little steep for you, again, you have the other options of getting the cheaper versions of this knife. Or I would suggest if you want this one but don't want to shell all the money, maybe do a little searching around the forums, bladeforums.com or knifeforums.com. I don't see this one too often for sale, but if you ask around, I'm sure you can find someone willing to give theirs up. Anyway, that is my review. Hopefully you weren't too bored through it and my voice wasn't too scratchy. But anyway, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.